Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemmeHead. Today I want to talk about my 5-year vegan anniversary because that's April and that's where we're at. I don't remember the date it was that I decided to make the switch, but I know it was April. Today I thought it would be fun to go over some of the big questions like why I went vegan in the first place, how it looked when I first went vegan, how things have changed, what I've learned, and that sort of stuff. And then at the end of it, I wanted to do a little Q&A, so I asked people on Instagram and Twitter questions they had, so we'll do that at the end. Okay, so I originally went vegan in April of 2013. Yeah, so 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Wouldn't that be hilarious if it was like only 4 years? But yeah, 5 years vegan now. I originally had gone vegetarian the previous October, so November, December, January, February, March, April. So for about 6 months, going vegan for me was part of a bigger journey of kind of finally coming to the realization that what I put into my body and how I treated my body was in direct relation to how I felt. And that had never clicked to me before. And I wasn't awful to my body, but I didn't think about like, am I getting enough nutrients? Like, am I eating enough vegetables? Am I getting enough sleep? I drank a lot of Rockstar energy drinks in college. It just wasn't good. But it had all started back in October when I felt like crap and I didn't understand it. And for whatever reason, it finally dawned upon me like, hey, I should start keeping track of what I'm eating and seeing how I feel after particular meals or ingredients or whatever it may be. And it was because of that original kind of food journal that I realized that my real gut destroyer was red meat. And so because of that, I was like, I'm just gonna try it for a week and see how I feel. And I noticed a big difference just in that week. And so I decided, okay, we're gonna give this whole vegetarian thing a go for the health standpoint. I feel like that's why a lot of people first get into veganism, and then they learn about, the effects on the environment and the animals and all that jazz. So how did veganism look at the beginning for me? Because I had gone vegan for health reasons, I was very focused on making sure I was getting enough of everything. And I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I wanna do this right. So that just naturally led me to be very plant-based versus junk food vegan, and it worked out really well for me. I had a pretty tight schedule when it came to work around this time. Like I had 3 different jobs and I was just working all day, got up at 5 a.m., went to bed at 11 p.m. or after that. And so I kind of ate very similar things. And the mornings would always start with like a big smoothie. And I had greens, fruits, spirulina, like all that jazz in my smoothies. And it was a good sized smoothie, not just like a little one. And then lunch for me was always a giant salad. Like I loved salads. I still love salads, but when I say a big salad, it's not like a side salad you think of. Like I ate family dinner size salads full of like kale, romaine, avocado, mushroom, tomatoes, broccoli, like everything. And I would stuff myself to the brim on salads. And then dinner was often some sort of like veggie stir fry, either with like noodles or rice or something like that. And throughout the day, I was really good and I snacked on like fruits, vegetables, nuts, and that sort of stuff. When I first went vegan, like I was at the top of my game. Like I felt great. And I was kind of your picture perfect plant-based vegan when I first started. So how have I changed since then? It took me 6 months of being vegan, and so a year of not eating meat before I tried tofu for the first time. And it was actually on Michael and I's first date that I tried tofu. He made me vegan pad thai. And it was delicious. But that was the first time I had tofu. Because I had gone vegan for health reasons, I really avoided all the processed options, and I really wasn't interested in the vegan junk food options that were available to me. But now I enjoy things like tofu, tempeh, vegan like burger patties, vegan brats, vegan ice cream, and some of the the vegan junk food. I go through phases of being more plant-based and then going through phases of being more like processed based. But I know that I feel better on the plant-based. Like that's just common sense and that's something I know. So I just try to find the balance between the two. What have I learned over the past 5 years? For one thing, I tried going completely raw. I can't remember if it was last summer or the summer before. I want to say it was 2 summers ago. And I found that didn't work for me because I started eating mostly just fruit Sugar and me don't mix that well either, even if it's from natural sources. And I can have fruit, you know, a normal amount of fruit is fine. But when I was almost solely consuming fruit, my skin was bad and I just had to stop doing that. If I balance it between like mostly fresh, you know, uncooked fruits and vegetables and, you know, some cooked fruits and vegetables, like that's my happy place, and that's where my body, my mind, and everything flourishes. You have to be flexible. You have to listen to your body. You learn what things fuel you the best and what bogs you down. And there is a time and a place to indulge yourself. Don't, you know, completely knock vegan junk food off the table. There's a time and a place for that. And sometimes it's nice to get some snack, sweet treat, or whatever it is. So don't deny yourself those things. But also don't make your diet out of completely processed stuff, because even if it is vegan, if it's processed and you're not eating enough of the fresh good stuff, the plants, you're gonna feel like crap. And finally, I am not a perfect vegan, and that is okay. I think there is such this misconception surrounding vegetarianism and veganism that like it's all or nothing. There have been a handful of times over the past 5 years where out of either necessity or being polite that I have had non-vegan things. Since going vegan 5 years ago, I haven't had meat, and that's kind of where I draw the line. Like, meat is something that I don't want to sway on, but there have been instances where I've had things with non-vegan things in them, like, you know, dairy or eggs or that sort of stuff. One example of this is during our first trip to Europe together, Michael and I spent 4 days biking through the south of France, and one of the first days, it was one of those days where it was like 40 miles of biking to get to the base of this mountain, and then the rest of the day into the night to get up this mountain. Like, I was not prepared for that freaking mountain. And Michael had to jog with his bike 3/4 of the way up because it got a flat tire. And so by the time we get up, it's like raining, it's dark, we're exhausted and starving, and it's this, you know, mountain town. And since it's off season, nothing's open, it's barren. We finally find this little restaurant to eat at, and the only things there that we could have that didn't have meat in them were fries, bread, and a cheese omelet. I ate half of that cheese omelet with Michael. And I say all this because, like I said, I think there is this mentality of all or nothing when it comes to making the switch to being a vegetarian or a vegan. And I think that really turns people off from even giving it a go. Or they fail once and they're like, well, I failed, like I can't be a vegan anymore. But I definitely think, and this is what I tell people, if it's something you're curious about and interested in, like, give it a go. You're gonna fail, and that's gonna be okay. Like, if you accidentally eat meat once, or you accidentally eat something with eggs in it, like, keep going forward. You have to learn what you can and can't eat, and that's just part of the process. Even if it's just not eating meat 1 day a week, and that's what works for you right now, go for it. Who cares? You don't have to confine yourself to this label. I see so many people in the online vegan community jumping down other people's throats because they aren't vegan, or they're the wrong kind of vegan, or they're doing something wrong, or they accidentally eat something or have something that's not vegan, and it drives me insane. And I hate that, like, because I am a vegan, I kind of get, or it could get associated with that group, and it just drives me insane. And it's not welcoming. It's not like, I want to be a part of that. I don't think that's the way to be a vegan. Give it a go and be nice about it. I don't feel like it's my place to be rude to someone, say mean things because they're not a vegan. I have friends that aren't vegan. I have family that's not vegan, and I don't care. Like, that is their choice. This is just something that I'm doing for myself, and I'm not going to judge someone for not living how I live. I just think that's silly. Be any kind of vegan or vegetarian you want. Just be nice to people.